What's up guys, it's Gator Dave. I'm hanging out here at War Room with my friend Duncan, and we are taking a look at Warhammer WARCRY, the skirmish game for Warhammer Fantasy. So, WARCRY is super fast-paced, amazing skirmish action. It's fantastic because you can get in games around like an hour in length or less. So it's super fast-paced. You can get in a bunch of games with a bunch of different opponents, and you're only using about a dozen or so figures. So it's really like leads itself to the hobbyist because there's so many opportunities for you to collect so many different figures that you find interesting, as opposed to building a whole army in like Age of Sigmar. I could get like 10 skeletons and 10 Seraphon, and I really get to like spread my wings from a hobby standpoint and just try out different models. And it is just a ton of fun. The game is, there's tons of layers to it, so it's very crunchy. And when it first came out, the rules weren't so in depth, but now there's layers and layers to the game, and it is just brilliant. It is a brilliant game.
So real quick, if you had the opportunity, how fast could you explain WARCRY to somebody who didn't know how to play?
So I've done this many times. I've done this with my girlfriend, I've done this with my cousin, people who have never even played war games before. And my girlfriend was able to pick it up in just like one game. So in 45 minutes, we played through a game, explained the rules to her, and she was able to pick it up. So for entry-level people, people who are even not familiar with war games, not familiar with Age of Sigmar, you could get into this game fairly easily. The cards are fairly simple. There's a lot of just symbols and numbers and stuff like that. It's a fairly simple game. There are layers of complexity to it, so you can kind of deep dive. What's great about it is there's that, you know, it could be very simple for entry level, but there's that stretch. So it can go all the way from simple to very deep. So if you're a super competitive player, you can really get into the rules. Or if you're just kind of a casual guy just looking for something easy to pick up, something fun and quick, you could do that too. So you know, there's layers to it. It's different. It's very different. It's very cool. And yeah, I would definitely recommend it for new players for sure.
All right. So now that we've looked at all the technical aspects, lore-wise, because we know Kill Team is just the operatives. So what is WARCRY? Is it just bands coming together, or is this kind of the same thing with operatives, or the whole premise? So I would say the first thing you want to do is just don't compare it to Kill Team, because Kill Team has a very different kind of rule set. I'm not super familiar with Kill Team, but just from what I've seen, it kind of focuses in on the individuals, the operatives, and stuff like that. This is more of a warband thing, so you're more looking at like, you know, it's just different. Just don't compare it to Kill Team. If you've played Kill Team, you're going to want a fresh start. All right, so these war bands, how many do you get in them? How many can you have? And like on top of that, like, are they limited on their abilities from like regular play of AOS? And like, if so, like, how so?
So, for example, if you had something like a Saurus Old Blood, he's going to have his own set of different stats from Age of Sigmar to WARCRY. He can be used in both games, but yeah, it's going to be a totally different set of stats. Those could be found in the WARCRY rulebook, the WARCRY compendium, and you could see it has a list of all the fighters, all the abilities, and yeah, so there's the abilities for each fighter kind of broken down more into faction than on specific fighter. It's kind of a little convoluted. You have to get into it, but we could hopefully explain that more in depth in another video.
You know what? I'll take that up on you. Next time, how about you teach me how to play WARCRY?
Sounds good, Duncan. Sounds really good.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, bro.
I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Peace.